Late at night, in her cozy bedroom, soft glow from her laptop screen illuminating her face. She's been chatting with her online friend, ShadowKnight, for months. Tonight feels different. Her wedding is just a week away, arranged by her parents. She doesn't even know the guy's name properly. But for now, she escapes into her secret world with ShadowKnight. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. Still awake, NightOwl? Speech balloon NightOwl. Obviously. Sleep is for the weak. Smirking face. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. Or for those who don't have an arranged marriage hanging over their head. Grinning squinting face. Speech balloon NightOwl. Ugh. Don't remind me. Just 1 week left, and I don't even know what he's like. My parents said he's nice, but come on, nice is just another word for boring. Weary face. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. Ouch. What if he's secretly awesome? Speech balloon NightOwl. Doubt it. If he were, why would he agree to this? Speech balloon ShadowKnight. Maybe he thinks you're awesome. Speech balloon NightOwl. Pfft. He doesn't even know me. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. What if he does? Speech balloon NightOwl. Then he'd know I'm allergic to boring men. Which is why I wish I were marrying someone like you instead. Winking face with tongue. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. Oh? What's so special about me? Speech balloon NightOwl. Well, for starters, you make me laugh. You actually listen. You don't treat me like I'm just some business deal. And, I don't know, I feel like I can tell you anything. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. Even your deepest secrets? Speech balloon NightOwl. Maybe not all of them. A girl's gotta have some mystery. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. Fair enough. But what if, just what if, your fiancé isn't as bad as you think? Speech balloon NightOwl. Then I'll take you out for dinner as an apology. Grinning squinting face. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. You better remember that promise. Speech balloon NightOwl. Ha, sure. But I know I'm right. This marriage is just a business deal, nothing more. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. What if it's not? Speech balloon NightOwl. Then I'd need a sign from the universe. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. Guess you'll find out soon enough. The next day, engagement ceremony. She steps into the grand hall, heart pounding. She still hasn't seen his face properly. Everything had been arranged so quickly. Dressed in an elegant outfit, she feels like a stranger at her own engagement. Then she sees him. Her heart stops. The man standing in front of her, the one she's supposed to marry, has the same amused smirk she's seen so many times. The same spark in his eyes. No way. Her phone vibrates. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. Surprise, NightOwl. Smirking face. Her breath catches. He grins, leaning in just enough to whisper, "Where's my dinner invitation?" Her breath hitches as she stares at him. Her online confidant, her secret escape, her ShadowKnight is her fiancé. Her mind races through every conversation they've had. The teasing, the late-night talks, the way he always seemed to understand her. He was the man she had dreaded marrying, yet he was also the man who made her heart race in ways she never expected. The room fades into the background. All the guests, the decorations, the chatter, it's all a blur. The only thing she can focus on is him. He takes a step closer, voice laced with amusement. "You look like you've seen a ghost." She swallows, her throat dry. When did you know?" His smirk softens, his eyes warm. "I had my suspicions for a while. The way you talked about your upcoming engagement, your little rants about the mystery guy, it didn't take long to connect the dots." She gasps. "And you didn't tell me?" "I wanted to," he admits. "But then I realized you spoke to me differently when you thought I was just ShadowKnight. You were honest, unfiltered. I wanted to know you before you knew me." Her heart pounds. This isn't just an arranged marriage anymore. This is him. The same man who made her laugh on her worst days. The same man who listened to her ramblings about books and movies. The same man who encouraged her dreams when everyone else dismissed them. Tears prick her eyes, not of sadness, but of overwhelming relief. He reaches out, gently tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "So, do I still count as boring?" A breathless laugh escapes her lips. "That depends. Are you going to keep making me laugh?" His grin is instant. Every single day. The warmth in his voice, the promise in his gaze, it's enough to make her believe. Maybe this wasn't just a deal. Maybe this was fate. She exhales shakily, then whispers with a teasing smile, "I guess this means I owe you dinner." He chuckles, eyes twinkling. "I'll take that as our first official date." As he takes her hand in his, a slow realization spreads through her. She isn't just marrying a stranger. She's marrying her best friend. And suddenly, the future doesn't seem scary at all. Her fingers tremble slightly in his grasp, not from fear, but from the overwhelming realization that fate had played a beautiful trick on her. The room, still filled with guests clapping and murmuring blessings, feels distant as she stares at him, her fiancé, her best friend, her ShadowKnight. "You okay?" he asks gently, squeezing her hand. She exhales a shaky laugh. "I don't know. I feel like I should be mad at you for keeping this a secret." His lips twitch into a grin. "But you're not." She gives him a playful glare. "I haven't decided yet." He chuckles, leading her toward the stage where their families are waiting. "Take your time. I'll keep making you laugh until you forgive me." A warmth spreads in her chest. Just hours ago, she thought this engagement would be nothing but duty. Now, it feels like the start of something she never dared to hope for. Later that night, a private conversation. After the engagement celebrations die down, she finds herself on the balcony, the cool night air brushing against her skin. Her phone buzzes. Speech balloon ShadowKnight. "So, was the universe's sign big enough for you?" A slow smile tugs at her lips. Speech balloon NightOwl. "I'll admit, it was pretty dramatic." "You planned this, didn't you?" Speech balloon ShadowKnight. "Not entirely. But I did hope you'd see me for who I really am." Speech balloon NightOwl. "You know, I never thought I'd be happy about this marriage." Speech balloon ShadowKnight. "And now?" She glances at the ring on her finger, a symbol she once dreaded, now holding a meaning she never expected. Speech balloon NightOwl. "Now, I think I got lucky." Her phone rings. She hesitates for only a second before answering. "Hey," she murmurs. "Hey," he replies, his voice softer than usual. "I meant what I said, you know." She bites her lip. "About what?" "That I'll make you laugh every day." His voice is warm, filled with quiet sincerity. "And that I want to know every version of you, not just the one you showed me online, but the one standing in front of me now." Her heart clenches at his words. "You already know me," she whispers. His chuckle is light, but there's something deeper in it, something tender. "Then I can't wait to spend the rest of my life proving you right." For the first time in weeks, she isn't worried about the future. Because maybe, just maybe, love was already there, waiting for her to recognize it. The ocean stretched endlessly before them, shimmering under the golden hues of the sunset. A gentle breeze carried the salty scent of the sea, and the rhythmic crashing of waves filled the air. She stood on the private villa's balcony, sipping a tropical drink, her silk robe swaying lightly against her skin. It still felt surreal, being married, calling him her husband. And yet, when she heard the familiar sound of his footsteps approaching, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. "You look lost in thought," he murmured, wrapping his arms around her from behind, his chin resting on her shoulder. She leaned into him instinctively, sighing in contentment. "Just thinking about how crazy this all is. A few months ago, I was dreading this marriage. Now," she turned in his arms to look up at him, a small smile playing on her lips. "Now, I can't imagine my life without you." His dark eyes softened, the mischief that usually lingered in them replaced by something deeper, something that made her heart race. "Well, I had a plan all along," he teased. "Get you to fall for my terrible username, make you laugh, and then trick you into marrying me." She laughed, playfully smacking his chest. "Oh, so this was a long con?" "Of course." He smirked. "But jokes aside, I feel the same way." He reached up, gently tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "I wouldn't change a single thing about how we got here." Her heart melted at his words. "Not even the part where I made fun of you?" "Especially that part." His eyes twinkled. "It was my first sign that you were going to be my greatest adventure." She swallowed the lump in her throat, feeling a surge of overwhelming love for the man in front of her. The moment stretched between them, filled with unspoken promises. Then suddenly he grinned. "Come on." She frowned as he grabbed her hand and started pulling her toward the beach. "Where are we going?" "You'll see." They ran across the soft, warm sand, laughter filling the air as he led her toward a cozy setup near the shoreline, a blanket, lanterns glowing softly, and a basket of food waiting for them. Her heart swelled at the sight. "You did all this?" He shrugged, rubbing the back of his neck. "I know you love sunsets and quiet places. Thought this would be nice." She stared at him, touched beyond words. Instead of answering, she stood on her tiptoes and pressed a soft kiss to his lips. He froze for a moment, then smiled against her mouth, pulling her closer. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange, they sat together on the sand, hand in hand. No words were needed, because in that moment, under the vast sky and endless ocean, they both knew this was just the beginning of their forever. 1 year later, a cozy evening at home, the soft sound of rain patters against the windows, filling the air with a comforting rhythm. She curls up on the couch, a warm blanket wrapped around her, a book resting in her lap. The scent of freshly brewed coffee lingers in the air, mixing with a faint aroma of vanilla candles flickering in the dimly lit living room. From the kitchen, he appears, 2 steaming mugs in hand. "One coffee for my favorite NightOwl," he says with a teasing smirk, placing the cup in front of her. She smiles, accepting it. "And what about my ShadowKnight?" He plops down beside her, stretching an arm over the back of the couch, effortlessly pulling her into his warmth. "Your ShadowKnight is exactly where he wants to be." She takes a sip of her coffee, glancing at him over the rim. "You know, sometimes I still can't believe this is real. That we are real." He chuckles, tugging her closer until her head rests against his shoulder. "Want me to pinch you? Or would you rather I prove it another way?" His voice is playful, but there's an unmistakable affection in his tone. She rolls her eyes, nudging him with her elbow. "You never stop teasing, do you?" "Nope." He grins. "I did promise to make you laugh every day." And he had. Every single day since their wedding, he had filled her life with warmth, laughter, and love. She never thought an arranged marriage could lead to something so deep, so natural, so theirs. "Hey," he murmurs, his fingers gently tracing the back of her hand. "Do you remember our first ever conversation online?" She thinks back, a soft giggle escaping her lips. "Of course. I insulted your username." His laughter vibrates against her. "And I said you were the most dramatic person I had ever met." She grins, tilting her head up to look at him. "I am dramatic. You are my dramatic NightOwl." His voice turns tender, his gaze locking onto hers. "And I wouldn't change a single thing about you." Her heart swells at his words. "Not even my habit of stealing the blankets at night?" He sighs, shaking his head in mock defeat. "Okay, maybe that." She bursts into laughter, and he watches her with the same amused, adoring expression he always has, the one that makes her feel like the luckiest person in the world. And as the rain continues to fall outside, as they sit wrapped in warmth and love, she realizes something. She never had to look for love. It had always been right in front of her.